के नाम।
For recitation of Holy Quran, I invite Brother Abbas Nathani. Please welcome him with salawat. Ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad.
الفجر وليال عشر والشفع والوتر والليل إذا يسر، هل في ذلك قسم لذي حجر؟ ألم تر كيف فعل ربك بعاد إرم ذات العماد التي لم يخلق مثلها في البلاد، وثمود الذين جابوا الصخر بالواد، وفرعون ذي الأوتاد الذين طغوا في البلاد فأكثروا فيها الفساد، فصب عليهم ربك سوط عذاب إن ربك لبالمرصاد. فأما الإنسان إذا ما ابتلاه ربه فأكرمه ونعمه فيقول ربي أكرمن، وأما إذا ما ابتلاه فقدر عليه رزقه فيقول ربي أهانن. كلا بل لا تكرمون اليتيم ولا تحاضون على طعام المسكين وتأكلون التراث أكلا لما وتحبون المال حبا جما. كلا إذا دكت الأرض دكا دكا وجاء ربك والملك صفا صفا وجيء يومئذ بجهنم يومئذ يتذكر الإنسان وأنى له الذكرى يقول يا ليتني قدمت لحياتي فيومئذ لا يعذب عذابه أحد ولا يوثق وثاقه أحد. يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي. صدق الله العلي العظيم.
Jazakallah, Jazakallah. One more salawat ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. सो सलाम मरसी के लिए मैं दरख्वास्त करता हूँ जनाब हाशिम रज़ा साहब से कि वो आएँ और मौला की बारगाह में सो सलाम मरसिया पेश करें बर मोहम्मद व आले मोहम्मद सलावात। और जो हज़रात जो इस वक्त बाहर हैं, जो हॉल में या मस्जिद में, प्लीज़ बराए करम Hazrat Abu Talib Hall में तशरीफ़ ले आएँ. Once again, for those brothers that are standing outside in the lobby or that are standing in the masjid, please kindly make your way into the Hazrat Abu Talib Men's Hall. One more salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
बारह दीगर नारे सलावत. हुसैन बन के ज़माने पे छा गए ज़ैनब ज़बान तेग से कूफा हिला से कूफा हिला गए جلائے حسینیت کے چراغ قدم قدم پہ جلائے حسینیت کے دیے یزید کے سارے بجھا گئے زینب حسین بن کے زمانے پیچھا گئے زینب محمد آل محمد صلوات جناب ظفر عباس ظفر صاحب کا کلام ہے بر محمد و آل محمد صلوات حسین کرب و بلا کو بسا کے سوئے ہیں مدینہ چھوڑ کے جنگل میں آ کے سوئے ہیں حسین کرب و بلا کو بسا کے سوئے اسی کے واسطے مانگی تھی مولت یکشا حسین حر کا مقدر جگہ کے سوئے ہیں حسین کرب و بلا کو بلا جو ساتھ لے کے گئے تاغ ماتم شب چراغ اپنی لہد میں جلا کے سوئے ہیں حسین کرب و بلا کو بلا سکینہ پاس نہ جھولا نہ گود مادر کہاں پہ اصغر نادان جا کے سوئے ہیں حسین کرب و بلا کو بسا کے سوئے اٹھا نہ زوجے اور ان یتیموں کا چوکو تماچے شمر کے معصوم کھا کے سوئے ہیں حسین کرب و بلا کو بسا کے سوئے لذ بھی تر نہ ہوئی ہائے بے کسی پہ سر کی لاش پہ آنسو بہا کے سوئے ہیں حسین کرب و بلا کو بسا کے سوئے جو آگ گلشن دی میں لگا رہا تھا حسین اپنے لہو سے بجھا کے سوئے ہیں حسین کرب و بلا کو بسا کے سوئے صلوات. فاتحہ. بار دیگر نعرہ صلوات. جب عابد بے کس کو پیام اجل آیا، دنیا داغا باز کی نیت میں بلا، وہ زر دیا جس سے سکون میں خلل آیا، مانند حسن کٹ کے کلے جانے کلا، مانند حسن کٹ کے کلے جانی کلا، ظالم نے مریض دلگیر کو مارا، شابر کی طرح دل بر شبیر کو مارا، شابر کی طرح دل بر شبیر کو مارا، اولاد پیغمبر پہ مصیبت کا یہ دن ہے، پیاسے کے آزادار کی رحلت کا یہ دن، مظلوم کے دل بھر کی شہادت کا یہ دن، عاشور کے بعد اور مصیبت کا یہ دن، عاشور کے بعد اور مصیبت کا یہ دن، اس غم سے جگر چاک ذرا نبی کا، اٹھتا ہے آزادار حسین ابن علی، اٹھتا ہے آزادار حسین ابن علی، وہ زر سے دم عابد بے کس کا اکھڑنا، سجاد دل افگار کا باقر سے بچھڑ، بگڑی ہوئی تقدیر غریبوں کی بگڑنا، اجڑا ہوا گھر فاطمہ زہرا کا اجڑنا، اجڑا ہوا گھر فاطمہ زہرا کا اجڑنا، ویراں ہوا دربار ولی ابن ولی، بجھتا ہے چراغ حسین ابن، بجھتا ہے چراغ حسین ابن علی، القصہ وضو کر کے مصلی پہ جب آئے، دہشت سے بدن کانپ گیا اشک بہا، سجاد پہ سجاد پسینے میں نہا، ہل ہل گیا گھر دوں جو لبے پاک لا، ہل ہل گیا گھر دوں جو لبے پاک لا، آواز یہ آتی تھی شکر بو بلا، یہ طاعت آخر ہے میرے زین لبا، یہ طاعت آخر ہے میرے زین لبا، وہ نصف شب اور راضی تقدیر کا سجدہ، نور نظر کشتہ شمشیر کا سجدہ، پیغام اجل تھا کہ وہ دلگیر کا سجدہ، جس طرح کے عاشور کو شبیر کا سجدہ، جس طرح کے عاشور کو شبیر اٹھے جو مصلی سے تو غش کر گئے سجاد، آئے آئے میرے بابا کا اور مر گئے سجاد، آئے آئے میرے بابا کا اور مر گئے سجاد، جب عابد بے کس کو پیام اجل آیا. محمد علیہ محمد صلوات.
صلوات على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Tonight is the third in this series of Majalis commemorating the Shahadat of none other than our fourth holy Imam, Hadrat Ali ibn al-Hussein, Zainul Abidin alayhi salatu wa salam. Salawat, please. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. We remember the sponsors for tonight's program, who are the following families: Mr. Mustafa and Mrs. Hina Karim, Mr. Ehtisham and Mrs. Ifat Naqvi and family, Mr. Nisar and Mrs. Sabira Karmali, Mr. Bakr Hussein and family, as well as Mr. and Mrs. Ahsan Bukhari. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our a'mal in this holy month of Muharram. We remember their marhumin, your marhumin, and the marhumin of all mu'mineen and mu'minat, including the following marhumin: Marhuma Shafia Khatun bint Sayyid Bashir al-Hassan, Marhum Sajjad Hussein ibn Rajab Ali Kerawala, who passed away today in Karachi, as well as the marhumin of the Kerawala and Bandeli families. Fatiha. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. In these holy nights of commemoration, we also remember those who are in need of dua for their health, safety, and protection in all areas of the world. We remember those who are suffering injustices in Palestine, in Parachinar, in areas that we are aware of, in areas we don't know of. Oppressions that are public and oppressions that are private. We also remember the health of our very own Sayyid Mehdi Shah, Zainab Zareen, and Leila Bai Ladda Dinani for their health. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless them with a speedy recovery. We remember all of them with verse number 62 of Surah An-Naml together 5 times. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. أَمَّن يُجِيبُ الْمُضْطَرَّ إِذَا دَعَاهُ وَيَكْشِفُ السُّوءَ 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 وَيَجْعَلُكُمْ خُلَفَاءَ الْأَرْضِ أإله مع الله قليلا ما تذكرون. الصلوات على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Mu'mineen, just a few announcements before we proceed with tonight's Majlis. This series of Majalis is inshallah going to conclude tomorrow in conjunction with the 35th annual Shab-e-Dari organized by Anjumane Naujawanani Ali Akbar. The program tomorrow is going to begin just like tonight with Salatul Maghribain, followed by Salam and Marsiya, and then the Majlis recited by Sheikh Mohammed Al-Hilli. And then after this will be a variety of Noha reciters that are renowned nationally and internationally. We look forward to your presence tomorrow, inshallah. The masjid is open through the night into Salatul Fajr. Mu'mineen, mark your calendars for the following upcoming programs. Inshallah, next Saturday, annual Imam Hussein Day will take place here at the masjid. This is organized by Payam-e Aman. This is next Saturday at 1 p.m. with Salat al-Dhuhrain. The speakers are going to be Sayyid Rizwan Rizvi, Reverend Kenneth Flowers, as well as Sheikh Abdul Jalil. And the topic for Imam Hussein Day is humanity in the face of oppression. We look forward to your presence next Saturday. Mu'mineen, our upcoming series of majalis, just to give you a bird's eye view, are going to be as follows. Inshallah, in mid-August, in about a few weeks, we are going to be hosting majalis for the wafat of Bibi Sakina, salamullahi alayha, salawat please. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala. The end of August, we are going to be hosting Arba'in, and then the beginning of September, we are going to be hosting the wafat of none other than our Holy Prophet Muhammad al-Mustafa, sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. These majalis are going to be recited. The wafat of Bibi Sakina is with Sheikh Bilal Rizvi. Arba'in is with Sheikh Bilal Hussein, Sayyid Bilal Rizvi for Arba'in, and then the wafat of our Holy Prophet, inshallah, is going to be Sheikh Fayaz Jafar. We look forward to your participation in all of these events. in the month of Arba'in, or in the time of Arba'in, we are going to be hosting another blood drive based on our demand from the previous. For those who weren't able to participate in this blood drive, we do have it coming up. This is going to be August 24th. Mark your calendars accordingly. Mu'mineen, as you can see, we always have something happening here in this masjid to make these services possible. Help this masjid so this masjid can help you. There is the campaign that was announced a few times prior, the 72 for 72 ACH campaign. When you walked in, I'm sure you saw the red alam that says Ya Hussein written on it. This, if you sign up for the campaign, you can sign your name on the alam, and this alam will be taken for ziyarah during Arba'in. So inshallah, we look forward to having you participate in this campaign. Just to give you some updates, right now our ACH is about 44,000 a month, and the goal is 50,000. So we're only about 6,000 a month away. What's the point of ACH? It helps support the masjid throughout the month, meaning the running expenses, the mortgage on the school, the graveyard that we just bought as well. So all of this is here so this masjid can serve this generation and for generations to come. You can speak with me for more information. Mu'mineen, before inviting our keynote speaker, let me take the time to invite Brother Ali Alvi, who has an update about the Shia community in the country of Colombia. Welcome him with a nice and loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Some of you know me, others may not, but I grew up in the Maryland, D.C. area, the Al-Jafir community, lived in New York for a while, and about 5 years ago I took a trip to Colombia, not Colombia, Maryland, but Colombia, South America, for a dental trip. And on that trip I ended up going to Medellin, Colombia, and I was looking for a place to go pray, and I found a Sunni masjid. When I walked in, the gentleman there was speaking very, I guess, anti-Shia remarks from him, right? But he had no idea that I was actually Shia. So when he saw me praying, afterwards he says, "Oh, I'm sorry, you know, we're all brothers, everything's fine." So I thought to myself, is this what they're teaching in Colombia to Latin America people about what Shia Islam is? A few hours later, I was on the plane. I was about to get on the plane to come back home, and I was talking to my friend, and I said, "Listen, this is what happened, and someone should do something about it." How often do we think that when we see something? But do we ever think I should do something about it? But that was the thought that I had at that moment. If no one else is going to do it, maybe I should. So I wrapped up my business, I wrapped up everything here, and I moved to Colombia. It'll be 4 years, inshallah, in October. I found 3 or 4 Shia people total in the whole city of 3 million people. So we decided to start a Dua Kamal program every Thursday with 3 or 4 people. In the last 2.5, 3 years, actually in 3.5 years, we have gotten to a community about 25 to 30 people, of people that have converted from being Christian to Shia or Sunni to Shia. Salawat. There was a gentleman that I knew that was working there, and we started talking, and he asked me, "Why are you always calm, and where do you always go at 12 o'clock every day?" And I said, "One day I'll take you." So a day or two later, I asked him to come join me at the masjid. And when we started to pray, he said, "Can I join?" And I said, "Yes, of course, you can join." So he joins us, he prays with us, and afterwards he starts crying. And he says, "I've never felt anything like this before." In the Thursday night program, he still argued with me saying that Jesus is God. And a few weeks go by, I had spoken to him about some of the verses in the Quran, as well as some of the verses in the Bible talking about Jesus not being God. So about 2 or 3 weeks later, he calls me, he says, "I need to talk to you." I said, "Sure, what's up?" He said, "I realized that Jesus is not God." I was like, 2 weeks ago you told me he was. So I was like, yeah, exactly, he's not God, but you have to continue reading. Read this verse, read this verse. So he reads through further in the Bible, and he calls me again 2 or 3 weeks later. "You know what? I just realized that there's a prophet after Jesus. They've been lying to us the whole time." This gentleman was a preacher. So he left the church because he said he could no longer preach something that's false. and he joined our community with his wife and his children. So that's one story. I have many more, and I'm limited on time. So I'll keep it there. I'll be here tonight, and inshallah I'll be here tomorrow night as well. So if anyone wants to hear more, learn more, I'll be happy to sit down and talk with you. The second part of this, as you may already see coming, is that we need to sustain this community. So in order to sustain this community, for us, it's about $25,000 a year, not like 40 or 50,000 for a month. So for us, it's about 25,000 a year. So I'll leave some of the information with Dr. Azam as far as how you guys can donate. And then we also have a video that will be circulating on the WhatsApp chat we have for Masjid-e-Ali. So you'll be able to see a little more of what's going on with the work that we're doing. Last year, we were actually able to take 3 people to Arba'in, from like Colombian converts. One of the ladies came back and she said that I'm going to mourn Imam Hussein for the rest of my life, and I'm never going to change from black clothes, and I'm always going to wear black clothes. This is a salawat. This is a Colombian lady that when her daughter converted to Islam, she says to her, "How dare you abandon Jesus?" But now she says, "I'm never going to change out of black clothes for the rest of my life." So that's the type of work we're doing there. Again, I'll be here if you have any questions, if you want to know more stories, happy to help you. Thank you so much. Salawat.
Jazakallah khair, Brother Ali Alvi, for that heartfelt update. Truly one of the most unique endeavors I think that we've seen in this recent time. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you with success and ajr in this world and in the hereafter. He mentioned there is a video of testimonials. We'll circulate that among the WhatsApp group so you can see the wonderful work that Brother Ali is doing in Colombia. Mu'mineen, at this time I request that your cell phones are silenced. Parents, please ensure that your children are seated next to you throughout the duration of the majlis. And I request that you stand and move forward closer to the minbar as I request our respected scholar, Sheikh Mohammed Al-Hilli, to recite tonight's majlis with a nice and loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين، ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف خلقه وخاتم أنبيائه وسيد رسله سيدنا وحبيب قلوبنا وشفيع ذنوبنا أبي القاسم محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المطهرين المكرمين. السلام عليك سيدي ومولاي يا أبا عبد الله، وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك، عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت، وبقي الليل والنهار ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. صلوات. قال الله العظيم في كتابه الكريم وهو أحسن القائلين وأصدق الصادقين: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وإن من شيعته لإبراهيم. آمنا بالله صدق الله العلي العظيم. For the purification of the souls, the enlightenment of the hearts, the acceptance of the deeds, and for the hastening of the reappearance of the awaited Savior, Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif, enlighten your souls and the atmosphere with the recitation of salawat upon Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Respected elders, sisters and brothers, Salamun Alaikum wa Rahmatullahi wa Barakatuh. Who is a Shi'i in the opinion and in the words of Imam Zayn al-Abidin Ali ibn al-Husayn al-Sajjad salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi? Each and every one of us recognizes that the term Shia is used in the Holy Quran, and its reference to partisan or the followers. We recognize that anyone who calls themselves the Shia of the Ahl al-Bayt is a person who says that I follow after the Holy Prophet, his holy immaculate progeny. The recognition is that when we examine the world of hadith literature, you'll find a special emphasis and praise upon those who are considered Shia. Many a times, this is something that you and I need to be aware of when we understand that truly an individual who calls themselves Shia is blessed, and it's a matter of tawfiq from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be known as a Shi'i Muslim. For example, when it comes to the Holy Quran, in Surah Bayyina, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ أُولَٰئِكَ هُمْ خَيْرُ الْبَرِيَّةِ. Those who are believers and perform righteous deeds are the best of the people. جزاؤهم عند ربهم جنات عدن تجري من تحتها الأنهار. Allah says their reward is with God. They will obtain paradise underneath which rivers flow. رضي الله عنهم ورضوا عنه. Allah is pleased with them and they are pleased with Allah. The Holy Prophet Rasul al-A'zam wa Nabi al-Akram Muhammad al-Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was asked this question. This narration is found where? Allama Hafiz Jalal al-Din al-Suyuti in Durr al-Manthur. Also Allama Tabari in his tafsir. Similarly Allama al-Hasakani in Shawahid al-Tanzil. Three big massive books of our brothers in other schools which come and explain this hadith. The Holy Prophet is asked, Ya Rasulullah, who are the best of people? Khayrul Bariya. I want to know so that I can be amongst them. In non-Shi'i sources, the Prophet of Islam says, Hum ya Ali anta wa shi'atuk. They are, O Ali, you and your Shia. Radhina mardiyin. Allah is pleased with you on the day of Qiyamah and you are pleased with Him. Hence there is praise that exists within Shi'i literature. However, at the same time, there is an important question, and that is what makes a person Shi'i? What characteristics do they have? What are the signs of someone who can call themselves the follower of the Prophet and his family? Without a doubt today, there are people who claim things but lack the credentials. Nobody takes you seriously if you do not show your qualifications, if you do not show people that you deserve the label that you have. Can somebody today come and say, I'm a physician, and they haven't got any particular qualifications to show for it? Can somebody today claim that they're president of a country, and indeed they're not indeed president at all? Therefore, you and I need to constantly ask ourselves this question: what makes me a Shi'i? How do I define myself as a Shi'i? This is important. From a young age, we need to inculcate and develop the Shi'i identity within our children. Many a times, they are born into households, followers of Ahl al-Bayt. They take this for granted. They are raised within the label that they are Shi'i. They are the followers of Ali. Yet when you ask them, what makes you a follower of Ali? How are you distinguished, for example, from others when it comes to this matter? They may indeed struggle. Some of them have truly understood their responsibilities, have appreciated the value of wilayah and the fact that they believe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has designated leaders after the Holy Prophet of Islam. May Allah bless that young man who I came across his story in one of the countries in the Middle East who indeed are expressing Shia phobia, meaning if you are one of the followers of the school of Ahl al-Bayt, You do not necessarily have to express yourself as such because you'll be mistreated. One day he was at school, he was only 11 or 12 years of age. Imagine when an individual understands what it is that makes a Shi'i will be able to defend the school of Ahl al-Bayt. This man, this young boy, was sitting in the classroom. His teacher came forward and was giving a class on Islamic history. He was describing the last year of the Holy Prophet's life. He spoke about a number of pivotal events. He finally finished by talking about Hajjatul Wada, the final pilgrimage. When he concluded the class, the student stood up and said, "Sir, you forgot to mention the incident of Ghadir. This is very important." The teacher said to him, "It's insignificant because it was just a declaration of friendship. It was something that the Prophet had to do to tell people that Ali was a friend of his. It does not merit me to talk about it as a significant event in the life of the Prophet of Islam." The student sat down. He was not finished. After a few days, the teacher, which was a normal practice and it still continues today, he allows one of the students to be his representative, to stand up, and the teacher leaves and says, for the next 5-10 minutes, all the students must listen to this student. Everyone must listen and obey, and no one will challenge him. Therefore, you all continue your work. He chose this young Shi'i boy. He said, "You stand up, come at the front of the class, everyone listen to him. I'll be back in a few moments." He left, he came back a few moments later, said to the boy, "Go and sit down." The boy refused. He stood there. Teacher said, "Why are you not sitting down?" He said, "Because I'm very confused. I don't know what to do." He said, "Why are you confused? Is everything okay?" He said, "No, not okay." He said, "Tell me, tell the whole class, what's the problem?" He looked at him and said, "Sir, you have just demonstrated that you're better than the Prophet of Islam." He said, "How dare you? I'm not better than the Prophet." He said, "You seem to be." He said, "How?" He said, "You have a class of 25. You left the class for 5 minutes and you made sure someone looks after it and there is no chaos. You appointed someone who conducts your affairs. And you say the Prophet of Islam left entirely the religion without leaving a successor." The teacher looks at him and says, "How dare you? This is not something you should be saying. Therefore, I will now give you a letter to give to the head teacher for you to be expelled from the school. You have humiliated me in front of the students." The student said, "Very well." He took the letter, he went to the head teacher, headmaster. He knocked on the door. The head teacher said, "What's the problem?" He said, "This is what's happening." He said, "Tomorrow you come back with your wali, the person who's in charge of you, your guardian." He said to him, "Wali. Therefore, I will then sign your papers." He came back the next day, knocked on the door. Head teacher said, "Come in." He came in. He said, "Where's your wali?" He said, "Outside." He said, "Bring him." So he brings who? His friend. The moment the head teacher looks at this, he's enraged in anger, stands up and said, "Are you mocking us? Are you ridiculing us? Yesterday I told you, bring your wali. Do you not understand what wali means?" He said, "Sir, I do. Ask the teacher that expelled me because he taught us wali means friend. Therefore, I brought my friend." He said, "That's nonsense. A wali is someone who has authority, someone who is in charge. Everyone understands this." He said, "Clearly you don't. Because when we say, Man kuntu mawla fahadha aliyun mawla on day of Ghadir, it does not mean whomsoever I am the friend of, Ali is the friend of. It means whomsoever I have authority over, Ali has the authority over." How wonderful are these expressions? How amazing are these lines? How important is this knowledge that an individual has that can defend the school of Ahl al-Bayt in these particular moments? Wallah, somebody once who is a professor from one of the leading countries in the Western world went to visit Iran, the Hawza. When he was there, he was asking the scholars one question. He said, "Give me and summarize the school of Ahl al-Bayt to be a Shia Muslim in one word. I want one word." One of them stood up and said, "The school of Ahl al-Bayt and Shi'ism is intellectualism, is aql." That's it. You want to know if the brain works? Come to Shia Islam. Yes, because you recognize that it makes perfect sense, a rational conclusion that the Prophet of Islam would never abandon the religion without appointing a successor. Hence, the recognition that emerges, and that is when you look at the world of hadith, there are so many that describe the qualities and the attributes of the Shia, something that you and I need to know and recognize and implement in our lives. Books have been written. Today, you'll find the book known as Sifatu Shia by Sheikh al-Saduq, translated to English. Check it out, read it, reflect on it. These are narrations from the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. An example of a narration is from whom? The holy first Imam, Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. He comes forward and defines the Shia as follows. He says, Shi'atuna al-mutabathiluna fi wilayatina. Our Shia are the ones who work very hard in establishing our wilayah. Al-mutahabuna fi mawaddatina. They love each other and spread love and compassion because they love us. Al-mutazawiruna fi ahya'i amrina. They visit each other. Whilst visiting each other, they revive our affairs. In between brackets, I'm not here to describe this hadith or to analyze it, but just a reminder for all mu'mineen and mu'minat. When you go and visit anyone, when you are gathering as a family gathering, wherever you are, make sure that at least some remembrance of Ahl al-Bayt is present. Make sure that there is some discussion that gets you closer to Allah through these holy individuals. Don't have just an empty gathering where you just eat and chat and laugh and leave. Amir al-Mu'mineen says, if you want to know who is a Shi'i, every setting they're sitting is a setting of wilayah and the love of Ali Muhammad. Everywhere they are oozing with the spreading of the fada'il of the Ahl al-Bayt alayhum as-salam. Then he continues, he says, الَّذِينَ إِنْ غَضِبُوا لَمْ يَظْلِمُوا. The Shia are the ones, when they're angry, they don't oppress people. وَإِنْ رَضَوْا لَمْ يُسْرِفُوا. And when they're happy, they're not extravagant. بَرَكَةٌ عَلَى مَنْ جَاوَرُوا. They are a source of blessing when it comes to their neighbors. سِلْمٌ لِمَنْ خَالَطُوا. They are a source of peace for whomsoever they interact with. Look at these wonderful qualities that the Ahl al-Bayt alayhim salam have presented. Our sixth Imam, Ja'far ibn Muhammad al-Sadiq, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. He comes forward and says, do you want to know who the Shia is? He says, Ya ma'shar al-Shia, innakum qad nusibtum ilayna. Oh Shia, whether you like it or not, you are all linked to us. Imam alayhi salam then says, Kunu lana zaynan wa la takunu alayna shayna. Be a source of pride and honor for us. Don't be a means by which people are what? Attacking us, or a source of disgrace for us. Rahimallahu abdan habbabana ila nas. May Allah's blessing be upon the individual who makes people love us because of him or her. Meaning you become a tool of love for the Ahl al-Bayt alayhum as-salam. That's why when it comes to the fourth holy Imam, the question that I would like to ask is there a definition that he has given regarding what constitutes a follower of the Ahl al-Bayt? No doubt, each and every Imam has. When it comes to the Imam himself, this is what he says. Someone came to him and said to him, Yabna Rasulillah, ana min shi'atikum al-khullas. I am one of your best Shia. That was initially a problem, by the way. An individual who claims such a claim before the Imam of his time deserves to be told off. How can you say, I am one of the best, chosen, selected, purified Shia of yours? Imam alayhi salam does not dismiss him. He says to him, قَالَ إِذَنْ أَنْتَ كَإِبْرَاهِيمَ الْخَلِيلِ. Therefore, you're like Ibrahim. How? وَإِنَّ مِنْ شِيعَتِهِ لَإِبْرَاهِيمَ. Imam alayhi salam says, have you not read the verse in the Quran that amongst the Shia of whom? Of Lut is Ibrahim. Yes, Ibrahim is one of the followers and Lut is the followers of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Therefore he says, إِذْ جَاءَ رَبَّهُ بِقَلْبٍ سَلِيمٍ. That Ibrahim came to Allah with a heart that's tranquil, with a heart that's submissive. Qalb salim. Now the Imam alayhi salam says, إِذَا كَانَ قَلْبُكَ كَقَلْبِهِ فَأَنْتَ مِنَ الشِّيعَةِ. If your heart is like the heart of Ibrahim, then you're one of the Shia. it's very interesting that the Ahl al-Bayt alayhim salam's focus primarily regarding what constitutes an individual who claims to be their followers starts from within, starts from the state of their heart and their soul. What do we mean? When it comes to Sayyid al-Shuhada, Aba Abdullah al-Husayn salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. And this is very interesting because all these individuals, holy people, were asked by individuals that I am one of your Shia. So here we have a person who comes to the third holy Imam. He says to him, Ana min Shi'atikum. This time he doesn't say, I am one of the best. He says, I'm just one of your Shia. Yabna Rasulillah. So Imam says to him, Ittaqillah. Be God conscious. Wala تدعين شيئا يقول الله لك كذبت. Don't claim something Allah will tell you you're a liar. Why? إن شيعتنا من سلمت قلوبهم. Our Shia are identified by their hearts. How? What is it that there must exist in their hearts? Their hearts must be free from the following. These are the words of Imam al-Husayn alayhi salam that's found in our books of narration. He says, سلمت قلوبهم من كل غش وغل ودغل. Their hearts must not have, number one, corrupt thoughts, evil, ill disposition, grudge, envy, spite, hatred. That's the heart of a Shi'i. That's the heart that the Imam alayhi salam wants. Then he says to him, ولكن, but, قل أنا من مواليكم ومن محبيكم. Say, I am one of your followers and one of your lovers. That's okay. But if you want to claim that you are amongst our Shia, you must scrutinize and examine your heart and see where your heart lies in terms of your relationship with others. What the Ahl al-Bayt alayhi salam want us to go through is a journey of the purification of the soul. A journey regarding the way we interact and view others in society. If you look around the world today, if you look at our communities, one of the biggest challenges that we face is when it comes to relationships, is when it comes to people interacting with others, when it comes to people's ideas about others, the rumors that are spread about others, the discord that happens, the fitna, the dissension, the hatred that sometimes we see within the own community. And I ask you, even sometimes within the family. You see this when someone, for example, dies, such as a father. Brothers sometimes are fighting with each other regarding inheritance. You see this when a wife and a husband go through difficulties and conflicts in marriage. Or, for example, they end up divorced. The amount of ill talk between them or about each other is unbelievable out there. They think they have a green card or a permission to destroy each other's reputation, to clarify theirs. So you find, because this is an area that I'm involved, I deal with this on a daily basis. And I see the amount of backbiting, the amount of slander, the amount of hatred that is exhibited when it comes to social conflicts and problems between the people. Once somebody was asked who's going through divorce, why are you going through divorce? What's the problem with your wife? Because usually it's not a problem with us, it's the problem with the other person. He said, I can't tell you because she's still my wife and there is a sacredness. So there are people who are fitna mongers in the communities. They want the chatting and the gossip all the time. So this person waits for the divorce to complete and everything finishes. Comes back to this person and says to him, now you can tell me what's wrong with your ex-wife. He said, she's my sister in Islam. I can't say anything about her. Imagine if we have examples like that. That an individual recognizes every word we say, every expression, and wallah, every post we put on social media is subject of scrutinization by Rabbil Alameen, and we will be held accountable for it. The problem today is somehow this important element within the very fabric of society is not necessarily being adhered to. And we recognize there is a lot of work that we have to do to refine our hearts. Why? Because sadly, we allow egos to dictate the way we think. When I see someone successful, I have to somehow bring him down. When I see someone who has something that I don't have, somehow I am not happy about it. When I see someone who perhaps is not going through the right way or thinking and may have not answered me in an appropriate way, I feel like I have to take my anger or revenge. And it's sad that we have this sometimes within our communities. I remember reading in social sciences, they say human beings are one of 4 categories. Now it's up to you to put yourself in one of these 4 categories. It says the first category of human beings are the people who make things happen. The second category of people are the ones who watch things happen. The third group of people are the people who don't know what's happened. But the fourth are the biggest ones, problems, are the ones who criticize everything that happens. Whatever happens, they're there to criticize. One of the ulama says, I was leading salah. When I finished salah, someone came to me and said, Maulana Sahib, your namaz is batil 100%. Okay. Why, brother? You tell me. Come explain to me why my prayers is void. He said, Maulana, when you went into sajda, your nose was not touching the ground. So the scholar looks at him, says, can I ask you a question? He says, yes. What was your nose doing during this process? Do you know why this question was asked? Because if you were praying behind me, you will not see where my nose is. You are fishing for a problem, perhaps looking around, perhaps trying to identify faults so that you can expose, you can create problems, dissension, hatred, fitna. Here the Ahl al-Bayt alayhum salam, the fourth holy Imam, identifies and says what is absolutely essential for you and I to work towards is what? Is indeed clarifying and purifying our hearts and our thinking, the way we treat other human beings. Because wallah, when it comes to Karbala, when it comes to the 10th of Muharram, there are some incredible stories of people whom we consider, or we should consider them to be the followers of the Shia of Ahl al-Bayt, but they turn their back on Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Do you know why? Because of exactly this. There is a man by the name of Harthama, and this particular individual, Harthama ibn Abi Muslim. Listen to this story if you doubt that the heart makes a big difference into the direction that we take. Harthama was on the army of Amir al-Mu'mineen and Siffin. Harthama said, when we reached the land of Karbala, I saw Ali ibn Abi Talib sit on the ground on the soil of Karbala, take the soil, smell it and cry. And said, oh sand and soil of Karbala, within you people will be buried, that on the day of Qiyamah shall enter Jannah without hisab. So I witnessed this. He went to his wife after they returned from Siffin, this Harthama bin Abi Muslim, and said to his wife, I saw this and I asked Ali ibn Abi Talib, why are you saying this? He would tell me that my son will be slaughtered on these plains here. His wife said to him, Ali speaks only the truth. Remember this. On the 10th of Muharram, Harthama ibn Abi Muslim was there. Where? On the army of Yazid. Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam sees him, calls him, come. Weren't you the one who saw my father say this in Karbala? He said, yes. He said, do you still testify that he said it? He said, yes. He said, are you with me or against me? He said, you know what? I'm neither with you or against you. I'm neutral. Is this believable? That a person who is so-called the follower of Ali ibn Abi Talib and with him in Siffin and recognizes what's haqq and what's batil stands before Sayyid Shababi Ahl al-Jannah, the grandson of the Holy Prophet, and says, you know what? Not really sure. I'm going to stand on the fence here and I'm just going to watch. Imam said to him, don't stand on the fence. Because if you hear my cry and you do not help me, Allah will place your face on the plains of Jahannam. You will not survive in terms of the punishment. If you do not come and support us and you hear our cry, go away from here. The recognition, therefore, is that there is an invitation that's presented to you and I, if we want to be truly the followers of Ahlul Bayt, to recalibrate and re-examine and formulate our hearts to become what? More compassionate, more loving, more accepting, to remove the grudge and the envy and the hatred that we have on things that what? That exists out there. I tell you, there are some signs that exists that shows that we are far from being referred to as Shia in this particular regard. One of them is what? One of them is when I hear or come across an opinion presented by a scholar from within the school of Ahlul Bayt that does not conform with my understanding and the way I was raised and the Majalis that I heard. That's a big test. That's a big test. I'll give you an example. In North America, and I wouldn't mention the city that I went to, I was blessed to give a series of lectures on the mothers of the Ahlul Bayt, alayhum as-salam. These blessed individuals. The final one was what? Was on the great mother of the Imam of our time, Sahib al-Asr wal-Zaman, al-Mahdi al-Muntadhar. Ajjalallahu farajahu al-Sharif. I presented evidence from research conducted by well-known scholars that showed that the mother of the Holy 12th Imam was not a Roman princess. She was a slave from Africa, Nubia, same area as Fidda, Lady Fidda. She was dark in complexion in Sahih riwayat from such as Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam. This exists. If you want, check it out. If you're not convinced, that's not my point. I'm not here to convince you about this. When I finished, they said to me, there's a lady very upset waiting for you outside. Allah help me. I went there. This lady was shaking. How dare you do this? I said, what do you mean? What have I done? Astaghfirullah. She said, you have shaken my aqidah. I said, what have I said? She said, I am 60-something years old. All my life, I know Narjis to be a Roman princess. Now you've made her a person who's black. How dare you? Ajib. I said to her, sister, you know, you are older than me. I respect you. Please don't raise your voice. It's okay. She said, my mind, everything has changed. You have changed my life. The question today is, when I hear something that doesn't conform to my understanding of things, do I have the tawadu', the humility to say, Ya Allah, guide me to the truth. Allow me to see what is haq. And if I don't, then no problem. I agree to disagree. I am there to have discussions with others. I am there to have dialogue when it comes to people who have difference of opinion than mine. But the moment I start a vendetta or attacks online or in society and community, just because things do not necessarily sit well with me, the question today I'd like to ask is, what is the cause of this illness in the heart? Someone might say, I want to get rid of it. I want to press the format button and clean my heart completely. I want to be a loving, compassionate person for all in society and not have this grudge or envy or jealousy when I see success or when I see people having things that I don't have, or any other reason that sometimes I have this ill disposition. What do I do? Where does it originate from? Imam Al-Hasan Al-Askari salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi answers this in a beautiful way. He says, جُعِلَتِ الْخَبَائِث كُلُّهَا فِي بَيْتٍ. All the evil and the diseases of the soul are placed in a house. وَجُعِلَ الْكَذِبُ مِفْتَاحُهَا. That the keys to this is dishonesty and lying. It's very interesting that perhaps this angle has not been looked at, or maybe we have not reflected on this. But we live in a society in the Western world where immorality is being normalized, where unfortunately practices such as lying, backbiting, dishonesty has become second nature. That people time and time again practice it because everybody around them does it. And just like passive smoking, many a times we do passive lying or passive deception and fabrication and distortion. And we think it's okay, but what it's doing to us, it's polluting our hearts. It's making us in a state which leaves a lot to be desired. You see, the Quran is very specific to send the la'na on groups of people. And out of all these individuals that the Quran has sent the la'na, meaning Allah's mercy is withdrawn from them, one that clearly stands out from amongst those who are considered Muslims even, is the liars. فَنَجْعَلْ لَعْنَةَ اللَّهِ عَلَى الْكَاذِبِينَ. This is, of course, found in Surah Al-Imran in the incident of Mubahala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says this is such a devastating illness that we need to extract it and what? Purify ourselves from it. Why? Because sometimes it is found in a subtle way in our lives and in our practices. And sometimes we do it without knowing that we do it. What do we mean? You and I recognize that it's considered to be one of the great sins in Islam. When I lie, when I deceive, when I cheat, yes, it is not acceptable. And it's interesting that the Holy Prophet, Rasul al-A'zam Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, was asked by an individual once, Ya Rasulullah, I lie and I fornicate and I drink alcohol. Which one shall I stop doing first? The Prophet says, lying. He says, okay. He goes home, he thinks, I'm going to drink. Astaghfirullah, ma'adallah. But then he says, if the Prophet asks me, did you drink? I can't lie. He thinks about stealing. He asks himself the same question. He then recognized that when I stop saying things which are not true, I will also stop committing other acts which are haram. Therefore, the recognition that emerges at the outset is that it is something that you and I know will devastatingly impact us. However, what's the worst form of dishonesty in Islam? What's the number one condemned element of people who speak things which are not true? It's when they deliberately lie against Allah and His Messenger, which is a factor that causes their fast to become void. You agree? It's the only thing, by the way. If you do backbiting, astaghfirullah, when you're fasting, your fasting is not void. If you steal, your fasting is not void. Right? But it's interesting that if you say a lie against Allah and His Messenger, this doesn't mean that these actions are okay. It means the severity of uttering words of untruthfulness against Allah and His Messenger is so devastating and so detrimental. Question, who does that? You ask yourself, who actually spreads things against God and His Messenger that's not true? I ask you, when it comes to attributing words to the Holy Prophet and the Ahl al-Bayt, how many of us sometimes do it inadvertently? Meaning that I say the Prophet said this, but the Prophet didn't. Imam Ali alayhi salam mentioned this, but he didn't. Or I forward them on WhatsApp. You know, alhamdulillah, that these machines that we have, they are able to withstand the 5,000 Jum'ah Mubarak messages we get. But the problem is, when these hadith, so to speak, or words uttered by the likes of Aristotle, or Socrates, or other thinkers and philosophers, all of a sudden the name of Imam Ali is stuck next to it. No reference, no book, nowhere to look for. But Maulana, it's very nice. I'd like to share. Who asked you to share? Who gave you the responsibility of sending messages that are not verified? You ask me, what do I do? First of all, every hadith that you receive must have a reference. If it doesn't have a reference, there is only one button for it. Delete. But maybe it's a true hadith. Okay, maybe, but not good enough. We don't have the culture of understanding the severity of this. I'm not saying that when you send it, you are deliberately lying against Allah and His Messenger. But you could contribute to the deliberate lying of Allah against Allah and His Messenger. Why? Because somebody may receive it and believe that Allah, or it's from the hadith, from the Holy Prophet or the Ahl al-Bayt, and you are an agent in spreading such narrations that do not necessarily exist in hadith literature. Wallah, this Muharram. You know, sometimes you get so shocked. I heard from a particular Zakir, he's sitting on the minbar, and he said, قال أبا عبد الله الحسين. Imam al-Hussein said, you know what he said? إلهي تركت الخلق طرا في هواك وأيتمت العيال لكي أراك. Ya Allah, I have abandoned the creation for you and I have made my children orphans. Imam never said this. This is a poem attributed to someone who is describing what Imam would feel like. We have to be careful. I cannot say Imam said a statement like this, whereas there is a zero reference and we cannot find anywhere that said Imam alayhi salam mentioned these words. The question therefore today is, are we contributing to this or not? And that's why we have to be indeed very careful. That's the first thing. Second thing is, sometimes people say, am I committing dishonesty without knowing that I am doing so? What do you mean? There are what's known as the subtle ways in which lying takes place that sadly we need to nip and take it out from our practices. I'll give you 3 examples so that we can apply it to our lives. And these examples are found in the lives of Ma'sumin alayhi salam, where they highlighted against them. The first is when parents give false promises to their children. And it happens. I will give you, for example, ice cream if you pray. The child prays, we don't have ice cream. And their freezer is full of ice cream. I will let you play PS5, yes, if you, for example, do your roza fast. Completes the roza, I am going to give you this candy instead. It happens. When you tell them, my respected father, respected mother, on what basis are you lying? Oh, Maulana, she's only 5. It's okay. Listen to this hadith. Once a person by the name of Abdullah ibn Amir said that the Holy Prophet of Islam was in our house. And my mother called me, I was child. So she said to me, oh Abdullah, if you come, I give you something. Clearly he was a troubling child. He would not listen to his mother. And the Prophet was in the house. So the Prophet looks at his mother and says to her, ما أردت أن تعطيه. If he was to come, what were you going to give him? She said, tamra. I would give him dates. The Prophet says, أما إنك لو لم تعطيه شيئا كتبت لك كذبة. If he had come and you would not give him anything, it will be written for you as a lie. It's a lie. Maulana, 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 5-year-old, 1 week till their taklif, so I could still lie to them. This is not something that is acceptable. We have to be careful. Why? 2 reasons. Number 1, we are developing the habit of lying, whether we like it or not, even if it's children. Number 2, we are teaching them it's okay to lie, because they will recognize we are being dishonest, and therefore they will normalize that behavior. That's number 1. That's the first area in which sometimes we are lying without necessarily knowing. The other area is the following. What is known in Arabic, and I think Urdu also, as mujamala. What is this? This is, for example, you are inviting somebody home, and it's night, and they are being offered food, and they say, sorry, I don't eat at night. But they eat at night. But they're just being, a bit mujamalat, they call it, They don't want to, somehow eat, so they give an excuse, for example. Or you are presenting some people with sweets. No, I never eat sweets. But how you do? But you're saying to people, I don't eat sweets, I'm very good. Yes? This idea is problematic. Why? Because it is not true. It is not something that you're uttering the truth. Here, one day, the wives of the Holy Prophet of Islam were sitting. He was next to them, and he said to one of his wives, وَزِّعِ اللَّبَنِ. There is milk, I want you to distribute to the ladies sitting there. So one of them stands to give this milk to the ladies, and they begin to say the following, لا نشتهي. No, I'm full, I don't want it. Some people, you give them food and they say, sorry, I'm full. Be careful to say I am full if you're not. Just say I don't want. Yes? The Prophet says when they were being given this milk, they said, no, we are full. Look at what the Prophet of Islam looked at them and said, لا تجمعن جوعا وكذبا. Don't combine hunger and lying together. You are hungry. The Prophet knows that you are hungry, but you're also lying. Perhaps you don't want to take this milk from that person who's distributing, but don't combine them both together. The recognition is we have to be careful and be as honest as possible without the fear to upset others. Because sometimes you say, I don't want to upset someone, therefore I will navigate. That's number 2. Number 3 is praise. Please understand this. I have been in gatherings or even in commemoration events where somebody stands to give, for example, a speech in honor of someone who's passed away, or a graduation ceremony, or a particular party, somebody's been invited. And the praise they mention is what? Is somehow raises eyebrows. One of the bravest, one of the best, one of the most superb human beings on this earth. I have not seen a better human being than him. Calm down. Calm down. Because ultimately this excessive praise is a problem. It's mahalla ishkal. Oh, but Maulana, I'm just saying it because it's nice. What do you mean you're saying it? It's nice. You are uttering words that are not necessarily true. Therefore, the invitation that's given to you and I, and that is to be careful of the words that we utter, to be indeed reflecting exactly what is it that we are saying, and we nurture the environment of truthfulness and sidq. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says on the day of Qiyamah, sidq emerges as a very important quality that helps a human being. هَذَا يَوْمُ يَنْفَعُ الصَّادِقِينَ صِدْقُهُم. Allah says on the day of Qiyamah, the truthfulness of those who are truthful will definitely help them. It will be a major source of assistance for those on the day of Qiyamah. That's why I remember this responsibility that we have to take these and apply them in Muharram and Safar. Please, these are months for refining the heart. These are months to make us better human beings, to understand our responsibilities, to see, are we up to being called Shia to Hussein or Shia to Sajjad? If I am up to that, then I need to work very hard. And for that to happen, I need to make sure that I reflect upon these lessons and I instill them in my life. How many times, and I make this habit often, in Muharram and Safar, I go to different communities, and especially in Rabi' al-Awwal, I speak to many community members in different parts of the world, and I say, how is the Majalis? Or even after the first 12 nights, they say, MashaAllah, this year Majalis was amazing. It was one of the best we've heard. I say, really, MashaAllah? What lessons did you learn? Wallah, I can't remember. The best Majalis and you can't remember anything? I remember Maulana, he was amazing because we mentioned 5 Nara Haidaris. Okay. Fantastic. Let it be 5,000 Nara Haidaris. Did you learn anything? Are you able to say that this year Muharram, I'm better than last year Muharram? Am I able to somehow instigate that change? Have I looked at my heart from within? Am I someone who's latching on to Abu Abdullah and not letting go of him? What do we mean? There is a famous scholar today who is a historian. He's written many books about Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Sheikh Hamdani, he says this story, which is very, very interesting. He recently came out and said that what? I have a friend who is a khadim of Imam al-Hussein. His name is Hajji Abu Zainab. He was somebody who used to serve the Zuwar during the time of the wretched Saddam, the previous government in Iraq, because they were not allowed to sit in the courtyard, so he would bring them rugs and they would sit to recite ziyarah. He would endanger his life. And alhamdulillah, he continued afterwards when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala removed that despotic regime. And what happened? That he continued to serve the Zuwar. One day, the Sheikh said, I was traveling with him back from Karbala after ziyarah on a Thursday night. He said to me, Sheikh, I have to bid farewell to you. He said, why? Where are you going? He said, to Akhirah, to meet Allah. I said, what do you mean? He said, next Thursday I will not be with you. And I will not join you. He said, where will you be? He said, look, Sheikh, I don't have ilm al-ghayb. I don't have knowledge of the unseen, but I have fairly strong confidence that I will depart this week. This coming week, I will leave this world. He said, why? Tell me. How can you be so sure? He said, let me tell you what happened a few nights ago. He said, a few nights ago, in my dream, I saw myself with thousands of people on the shore next to the sea. And the sea had many small boats. And on those boats, there were creations of God that were completely white. I couldn't see who they were. They were helping people to come on the boat. And I got on the boat. We went for a distance until there was a massive, beautiful, amazing, spectacular ship. I have never seen a ship like it. We were helped on. We got on board. Then I saw all these thousands of people inside the ship. And I looked at these creations of God and I asked, where are we? They looked at me and said, this is Safinatul Hussein. This is the ship of Abu Abdullah. Yes. إن الحسين مصباح الهدى وسفينة النجاة. Hussein is the ship of salvation and the lantern of guidance. He said, when I heard this, I was so delighted. I was overjoyed that I am on the ship of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. He said, then I was shocked because I saw people standing on the edge of the ship and throwing themselves into the water. Coming out. And there were hundreds, so many. So at that moment, I rushed to stop them. Why are you doing this? Why are you throwing yourself into the sea? These creations of God stopped me and said, don't worry, Hajji. Don't worry. Don't worry. Let them. I said, why? What's happening? They said, they have lost Hussein. They have lost him. So now they are throwing themselves from the ship. They had the chance. They had the opportunity to be in his ship. But they did not take that opportunity. Ya Hajj! Oh, in a few days' time, by next Thursday, you will be with Hussein. So the Sheikh said to him, I'm not sure. Let's see. He says, Wallah, within 3 days I heard the news. Hajji Abu Zainab has died and passed away. Today the question is, am I latching on to Abu Abdullah or letting go? Am I able to hold on? Am I able to be in that ship of salvation? That ship that there is no ship like it. The 8th Holy Imam would say to people what? He would say, latch on to the ship of Hussein. They said, aren't you all ships of salvation? He said, we are. وَلَكِنَّ سَفِينَةَ الْحُسَيْنِ أَوْسَعَ. But the ship of Hussein is bigger. وَفِي لُجَجِ الْبِحَارِ أَسْرَعَ. And in the oceans, it's faster. Latch on to this means of salvation. That's why we recognize those in Karbala are described by the Imam as those who are truthful. Understand this. This is key. If we want to be like the Shia of Hussein, the Shia of Sajjad, the Shia of Ali, the Shia of Ahl al-Bayt, we need to display and exhibit truthfulness. Why? Because a common surah ayah that was recited by Imam alayhi salam when the companions would leave is the following. مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ رِجَالٌ صَدَقُوا مَا عَاهَدُوا اللَّهَ عَلَيْهِ. From amongst the believers are men who are truthful to the covenant they gave to Allah. And Imam would recite this for nearly every person who would leave to the battlefield, in order to demonstrate that these individuals were truthful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not only truthful by giving their lives, but they were sadiq in their words, in their actions. They were individuals who clarified and purified and indeed cleansed their hearts from all kinds of evil and corruption. I ask you, today, can you find me one narration, just one, whereby any of Sahabatul Hussein complained or said, what is this? This is no good. Find me one. Can you see their status? Not a single one of them doubted, despite the fact that they were about 100 or so facing 30,000, and now they recognized their status and they knew what they're about to go into, but they embraced it with submission and surrender, truthfulness in the heart, the strength of being truly the Shia of Hussein, because they were considered to be the true followers of Abu Abdullah. And that's why today it's of the utmost importance that you and I recognize the duties before ourselves to follow these holy individuals and these people who gave their lives. What do we have to do? We need to ensure that we lead by example when it comes to our children. That's number one. Number two, and please listen to this final message. Today we live in societies whereby easily the wrong has been presented as an okay or right. And it's no longer frowned upon. We live in societies where, unfortunately, vices and sins have become so common and easy to practice. What do we need to do? We need to create fortresses. Please mind and carefully put this in our minds. We need to protect ourselves from all the particular infusion of ideologies and poisonous thoughts and practices that exist. How? It starts at home, number one, without a shadow of a doubt. Parents leading by example. Secondly, of the utmost importance, we need to be advocates and supporters today more than any other time of Islamic schools. 100%. And I tell you this coming directly from Najaf. The Marja'iyya, both in Najaf and in Qom, have said time and time again that this day and age we are living in a situation where our children are bombarded with thoughts and practices which are what? Which are misleading so many. We need to create an environment whereby they flourish and nourished Islamically. And that can only be through what? A Muslim Islamic school that adheres to the teachings of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam. And this, to be honest, should not be something that we need to convince people. Wallah, I don't understand. I'll be honest with you. In London, this London where everyone says, you know, you guys, mashallah, you're ahead of us by so many years. We're not. Let me tell you why. Entire London with thousands, tens of thousands of Shia. One Shia school. Just one. Al-Hilli school. That's it. And there is a huge, huge problem. Suffering of our children, the loss of the Shia identity. The followers of Ahlul Bayt, alayhim as-salam. It's of the utmost importance that the community here in New Jersey is aware of the challenges that are coming as far as rainbow flags being seen at all times. Do not underestimate what's going to happen. I came across a book last year, and it is entitled How to Be Gay. Inside there is a chapter, how to answer Muslims, how to debate with Muslims and convince them that it's okay. Our children are being bombarded in cartoons, in Netflix, in social media, in order for them and their aqa'id, their beliefs to be diluted. If we do not wake up and realize the dangers facing us, if we do not sacrifice and place their tarbiyah and Islamic education above all our concerns, supporting schools like As-Sadiq school here, and making sure that we take part, we bring our kids, we encourage the establishment of such schools, make it grow, make even more grades established as we go along, make it flourish. It's our responsibility. There is no doubt in my mind that this is what the Imam of our time wants from us. No doubt. This is something we must not take lightly. And the final point I'll mention is this, and some of you may disagree with this. But today, more than any other time, it's time for you and I to stand up with honor, with dignity, with valor and courage and say, I am a Shia of Ali ibn Abi Talib. The world recognizes Hussein. The world recognizes Ali. The world recognizes the Shia now more than ever before. It's not now time for me to say, you know what, I am Muslim. No problem. Me, as a Shi'i, follower of the Ahlul Bayt, I respect my brothers and sisters from other schools. I pray with them, I visit them, I eat with them. That's no problem whatsoever. I have never been sectarian, and the school of Ahlul Bayt denounces sectarianism. But I have my identity. I have my Ahlul Bayt. I have my path. I have my salvation. And this is why I have to advocate. Wallah, sometimes people ask me this question, and once in university in London, someone objected to me when I said this. He said to me, brother, but we are all Muslim. I said, no problem. But do you have a passport? He said, what do you mean? I said, do you have one? Answer me. He said, yes. I said, when you go countries, what happens when you go countries? He said, I have my passport. I said, when you go to any country, is it okay to enter it with just the passport? He says, no. I said, why? He said, because normally you need a visa. I said, listen very carefully. My passport to Jannah is Islam. My visa to Jannah is Ali ibn Abi Talib. Why should I dilute my aqidah and belief? Why should I be afraid to express the fact that I am a follower of Ahl al-Bayt? The Ahl al-Bayt want us to spread the teachings. If I am not honored to be called a Shia Muslim, who's going to tell people about Ali Muhammad? Who's going to show people the akhlaq of Ali Muhammad, the legacy of Ali Muhammad, the greatness of Ali Muhammad? I am carrying their flag. I want my child to do the same. I need my child to develop that confidence, that courage to be able to stand up even though they may be hostile and say that whatever happens, I will not give up my identity of being the follower of Ali. Ya Ali. And indeed, that is a responsibility upon us all. We must never, ever neglect it. Yes? Because why? I ask you, today when we remember the Holy Fourth Imam, when we remember Zayn al-Abidin, this exceptionally brilliant human being, I ask you, how much of the world knows about him? How many have been introduced to his great legacy and his teachings? Have we done justice to Ali Muhammad? Because maybe we have been afraid to come out and say, I am a Shia. I respect everyone, but that's my identity. Yes? Maybe if we had done our jobs properly, tonight in Baqi' there will be Zuwar and there will be a shrine, maybe. If we have truly come out to say who we are. But this should not make us weakened. This should give us determination. This should give us strength that without shadow of doubt we are able to continue to defend the legacy of Ahl al-Bayt and to indeed be sources of pride for them, no doubt. Tonight we mention Baqi'. I ask you, this Jannatul Baqi' that breaks the heart when you and I go to see it. Those graves of the Imams alayhim salam, all alone on a night like this. On these nights of Shahadat of the fourth Imam, you'll find Majlis all around the world, but not in Jannatul Baqi'. You'll find people crying for Imam Zayn al-Abidin, but not in Jannatul Baqi'. You'll find millions of Zuwar in Karbala and in Mashhad and in Kadhimain and Samarra, but not Jannatul Baqi'. There is a poet who comes to describe a beautiful conversation between Baqi' and Karbala. Imagine that the land of Baqi' and Medina speaks to the land of Hussein and Abbas and says, O land of Hussein, what masa'ib did you see? Tell me, what witnesses do you have of the calamities? Karbala says, Baqi', you don't have Zuwar and you don't have a shrine, but your shrines are Bayn al-Haramain. Yes. You will not be forgotten, O Baqi'. But I would like you to tell me the masa'ib that you went through and you saw. Baqi' and Medina would say, I witnessed Fatima being slapped. I witnessed Zahra being crushed between the wall and the door. I witnessed the cries of the daughter of the Holy Prophet because of the pain and the miscarriage of her unborn baby. I witnessed these actions one after the other. I witnessed Al-Hasan's body being riddled with arrows. And I witnessed the domes of the Ahl al-Bayt being destroyed and made onto the ground. I don't have Zuwar and I don't have shrines, but Karbala, tell me of the musibah that you witnessed. Karbala would say, oh, the land of Mujtaba and Sajjad and Baqir and Sadiq. Oh, the land of the Prophet and Fatima. The masa'ib that you witnessed, I witnessed as well. How? What did you see, O land of Karbala? O Baqi', you saw Fatima being slapped. I saw Zainab being slapped. Yes. O Baqi', you saw the ribs of Fatima crushed. I felt the ribs of Hussein crushed. Yes. O Baqi', you heard the cries of Fatima. I heard the cries of Sakina and Zainab, but I witnessed these calamities and more. Let me tell you, whether it was the body of Abbas falling on the ground without arms that broke, and whether it was Qasim calling out his uncle Hussein when someone hit his head with a pole, or whether it was Aun and Mohammed crying and bidding farewell to their uncle, yet coming back into pieces. Yet, oh Baqi', there is one thing that we both share. You saw Muhsin losing his life. I saw the arrow in the throat of Asghar. I saw that baby, yes, that baby of Hussein being slaughtered from one plane to another, from one vein to the other. I saw one musibah after the other. Oh Baqi', my land shook when I felt those enemies approaching the body of Hussein, isn't it? The narrations tell us in Medina, yes, in Medina, Sayyida Zainab, when she arrives to her house. That moment when she arrives in her house, she goes inside the room, she finds that Aun and Muhammad are not there. She begins to cry, she begins to remember them. The first time she cries, that moment the door knocks. She is asked, nobody comes in. But who comes in? It's not anybody, it's al-Baneen, the mother of Abbas, the mother of the other three Shuhada Karbala. The riwayah says when Zainab stood there, she saw al-Baneen. At that moment, al-Baneen looks at Zainab, their eyes looking at each other. I wonder what Zainab would say, and I wonder what al-Baneen would say. Imagine, because al-Baneen would cry out, oh Hussein, Hussein, and Zainab would say Abbas, Abbas, because the poet then describes how Zainab explains to al-Baneen what happened on the plains of Karbala. She would say, oh al-Baneen, Abbas went and never returned. Oh al-Baneen, Aun and Muhammad went and never returned. Qasim went and never returned. These Shuhada went and never returned. And I ask you, oh al-Baneen, how difficult would have been for them to feed Aba Abdullah any water. But al-Baneen, what broke my heart on the day of Ashura is when I was standing on that cliff and I looked at that wretched La'een Shimmer, and he looked at me and I said to him, how dare you? He ignored me and he walked towards my Hussein. That broke my heart. Oh al-Baneen, I could not look anymore. The Malaika, everyone was crying. Oh al-Baneen, the next thing I saw was the head of Hussein on a spear.
وہ خون روکے یہ کہتا رہا زمانے سے، 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 وہ خون روکے ردائے چھینو نا، ردائے چھینو نا لوگوں میرے گھرانے سے، وہ خون روکے کہتا رہا زمانے سے، ردائے چھینو نا، ردائے چھینو نا لوگوں میرے گھرانے سے، وہ خون روکے کہتا رہا زمانے سے، وہ خون روکے کہتا رہا زمانے سے، وہ خون روکے یہ کہتا رہا زمانے سے، ردائے چھینو نا، ردائے چھینو نا لوگوں میرے گھرانے سے، سوال آب پہ سونے پہ اس کے رونے پہ، سوال آب پہ سونے پہ اس کے رونے پہ، وہ مارتے تھے، وہ مارتے تھے سکینہ کو ہر بہانے سے، وہ کہ یہ کہتا رہا زمانے سے، وہ خون روکے یہ کہتا رہا زمانے سے، بلائیں کس طرح عباس کو مدد کے لیے، بلائیں کس طرح عباس کو مدد کے لیے، وہ بے ردا تھی رہی بلانے سے وہ رہا زمانے سے وہ خون رو کے یہ کہتا رہا زمانے سے وہ خون رو کے سلایا جاتا تھا بے ہوش کر کے دروں سے سلایا جاتا تھا بے ہوش کر کے دروں سے جگایا جاتا تھا جگایا جاتا تھا عابد کو تازیانے سے وہ خون ہو کے سے وہ خون رو کے زمانے سے وہ خون رو کے ردائیں چھینو نا ردائیں چھینو نا لوگوں میرے گھرانے سے یہ گنج شہیداں میں باپ کے سر نے کہا یہ گنج شہیداں میں باپ کے سر نے مجھے سکینہ بلاتی ہے قید خانے سے خون رو کے سے وہ خون رو کے یہ کہتا رہا زمانے سے کچھ اس طرح سر کربو بلا وہ اجڑے تھے کچھ اس طرح سر کربو بلا وہ اجڑے تھے کہ ڈر رہے ہیں ابھی تک وہ گھر بسانے سے وہ خون رو کے کہتا رہا زمانے سے وہ خون رو کے کہتا رہا زمانے سے وہ خون رو کے ردائیں چھینو نا لوگوں میرے گھرانے سے وہ رو کے یہ کہتا آخری شعر سے وہ خون رو کے یہ کہتا ردائے ثانی زہرا میں ڈھل گیا اکبر ردائے ثانی زہرا میں ڈھل گیا اکبر غبار اٹھا جو لاشوں کے تھر تھرانے سے خون رو کے یہ کہتا یا حسین 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 حسین یا حسین یا حسین ہے تو کہ گرا زیب گلو پاؤں میں زنجیر ہے تو کہ گرا زیب گلو پاؤں میں زنجیر ہے تو کہ گرا زیب گلو پاؤں میں زنجیر ہے تو کہ گرا زیب گلو پاؤں میں زنجیر ہے تو کہ گرا زیب گلو پاؤں میں زنجیر ہے تو کہ گرا زیب گلو پاؤں میں زنجیر ہے تو کہ گرا زیب گلو پاؤں میں زنجیر ہے تو کہ گرا زیب ہے تو کہ گرا زیب گلو پاؤں میں زنجیر ہے تو کہ گرا زیب گلو پاؤں میں زنجیر ہے تو کہ گرا زیب گلو پاؤں میں زنجیر ہے تو کہ گرا زیب گلو پاؤں میں زنجیر ہے تو کہ گرا زیب گلو پاؤں میں زنجیر ہے تو کہ گرا زیب گلو پاؤں میں زنجیر ہے تو کہ گرا زیب گلو پاؤں میں زنجیر ہے تو کہ گرا زیب گلو پاؤں میں زنجیر سجاد کی لکھی گئی سجاد کی لکھی گئی ہے عشقوں سے تقدیر ہے تو کہ گرا زیب گلو پاؤں میں زنجیر ہے تو کہ گرا زیب گلو پاؤں میں زنجیر ہے تو کہ گرا زیب گلو پاؤں میں زنجیر سجاد کی لکھی گئی سجاد کی لکھی گئی ہے عشقوں سے تقدیر ہے تو کہ گرا زیب گلو پاؤں میں زنجیر ہے تو کہ گرا زیب گلو پاؤں میں زنجیر ہے تو کہ گرا زیب گلو پاؤں میں زنجیر ماں بہن پھوپھی ساتھ ہے بے مکھناؤ چادر ماں بہن پھوپھی ساتھ ہے بے مکھناؤ چادر بیمار بنا جاتا ہے بیمار بنا جاتا ہے خود درد کی تصویر ہے تو کہ گراں زیب گلو پاؤں میں زنجیر زنجیروں میں جکڑے ہوئے زندہ میں کھڑے ہیں زنجیروں میں جکڑے ہوئے زندہ میں کھڑے ہیں اور ہاتھوں پہ سجاد کے اور ہاتھوں پہ سجاد کے ہے لاشائے ہمشیر ہے تو کہ گراں زیب گلو پاؤں میں زنجیر سجاد کی لکھی گئی سجاد کی لکھی گئی ہے اشکوں سے تقدیر ہے تو کہ گراں زیب گلو پاؤں میں زنجیر ہے تو کہ گراں زیب گلو پاؤں میں زنجیر ہے تو کہ گراں زیب گلو پاؤں میں زنجیر بیماری کے چل چل کے قدم سوج گئے تھے بیماری کے چل چل کے قدم سوج گئے ہیں اس بات پہ تنگ اور اس بات پہ تنگ اور ہوا ہلکائے زنجیر ہے تو کہ گراں زیب گلو پاؤں میں زنجیر ہے تو کہ گراں زیب گلو پاؤں میں زنجیر ہے تو کہ گراں زیب گلو پاؤں میں زنجیر ماں بہن پھوپھی ساتھ ہے بے مکناؤ چادر ماں بہن پھوپھی ساتھ ہے بے مکناؤ چادر بیمار بنا جاتا ہے بیمار بنا جاتا ہے خود درد کی تصویر ہے تو کہ گراں زیب گلو پاؤں میں زنجیر ہے تو کہ گراں زیب گلو پاؤں میں زنجیر ہے تو کہ گراں زیب گلو پاؤں میں زنجیر سجاد کی لکھی گئی سجاد کی لکھی گئی ہے اشکوں سے تقدیر ہے تو کہ گراں زیب گلو پاؤں میں زنجیر ہے تو کہ گراں زیب گلو پاؤں میں زنجیر ہے تو کہ گراں زیب گلو پاؤں میں زنجیر زنجیروں میں جکڑے ہوئے زندہ میں کھڑے ہیں زنجیروں میں جکڑے ہوئے زندہ میں کھڑے ہیں اور ہاتھوں پہ سجاد کے اور ہاتھوں پہ سجاد کے ہے لاشائے ہمشیر گراں زیب گلو پاؤں میں زنجیر ہے تو کہ گراں زیب گلو پاؤں میں زنجیر سجاد کی لکھی گئی سجاد کی لکھی گئی ہے اشکوں سے تقدیر یا حسین
یا حسین
سجاد کے جگر کو یہ غم ہی کھا گیا ہے، سجاد کے جگر کو یہ غم ہی کھا گیا ہے، سجاد کے جگر کو یہ غم ہی کھا گیا ہے، سجاد کے جگر کو یہ غم ہی کھا گیا ہے، سجاد کے جگر کو یہ غم ہی کھا گیا ہے، سجاد کے سجاد کے جگر کو یہ غم ہی کھا گیا ہے، سجاد کے جگر کو یہ غم ہی کھا گیا ہے، سجاد کے جگر کو یہ غم ہی کھا گیا سجاد کے جگر کو یہ غم ہی کھا گیا ہے، سجاد کے جگر کو یہ غم ہی کھا گیا ہے، سجاد کے جگر کو یہ غم ہی کھا گیا ہے، سجاد کے جگر جاگیر میں اکبر کی، جاگیر میں اکبر کی زینب جو بیردا ہے، سجاد کے جگر کو یہ غم ہی کھا گیا ہے، جاگیر میں اکبر کی، جاگیر میں اکبر کی زینب جو بیردا ہے، سجاد کے جگر کو یہ غم ہی کھا گیا ہے، سجاد پوچھتا تھا لوگوں سے آتے جاتے، قبر مسافروں کی کہاں لوگ ہیں بناتے، محمد نے مار ڈالی، محمد نے مار ڈالی، میری بہن بے خطا ہے، سجاد کے جگر کو یہ غم ہی کھا گیا ہے۔ سجاد پوچھتا تھا لوگوں سے آتے جاتے، قبر مسافروں کی کہاں لوگ ہیں بناتے، محمد نے مار ڈالی، محمد نے مار ڈالی، میری بہن بے خطا ہے، سجاد کے جگر کو یہ غم ہی کھا گیا ہے۔ سجاد کے جگر کو یہ غم ہی کھا گیا ہے، سجاد کے جگر کو یہ غم ہی کھا گیا ہے۔ جاگیر میں اکبر کی، جاگیر میں اکبر کی، زینب جو بیردا ہے، سجاد کے جگر کو یہ غم ہی کھا گیا ہے۔ سجاد کے جگر کو یہ غم ہی کھا گیا ہے، سجاد کے جگر کو یہ غم ہی کھا گیا ہے۔ ہو جائے بند کیسے آنکھوں سے خون آنا، معمولی غم نہیں ہے زینب کا شام جانا، مجھ کو یقین ہے اب تک، مجھ کو یقین ہے اب تک، سجاد رو رہا ہے، سجاد کے جگر کو یہ غم ہی کھا گیا ہے۔ سجاد کے جگر کو یہ غم ہی کھا گیا ہے، سجاد کے جگر کو یہ غم ہی کھا گیا ہے۔ ہو جائے بند کیسے آنکھوں سے خون آنا، معمولی غم نہیں ہے زینب کا شام جانا، مجھ کو یقین ہے اب تک، مجھ کو یقین ہے اب تک، سجاد رو رہا ہے، سجاد کے جگر کو یہ غم ہی کھا گیا ہے۔ سجاد کے جگر کو یہ غم ہی کھا گیا ہے، سجاد کے جگر کو یہ غم ہی کھا گیا ہے۔ سجاد فخر مریم دربار میں ہے لایا، منہ پہ یزید کے جو زینب کا نام آیا، بے وارثوں کا وارث، بے وارثوں کا وارث، بے موت مر گیا ہے، سجاد کے جگر کو یہ غم ہی کھا گیا ہے۔ سجاد کے جگر کو یہ غم ہی کھا گیا ہے، سجاد کے جگر کو یہ غم ہی کھا گیا ہے۔ جاگیر میں اکبر کی، جاگیر میں اکبر کی، زینب جو بیردا ہے، سجاد کے جگر کو یہ غم ہی کھا گیا ہے۔ سجاد کے جگر کو یہ غم ہی آخری شعر۔ سجاد کے جگر کو یہ غم ہی کھا گیا سجاد فخر مریم دربار میں لایا، منہ پہ یزید کے جو زینب کا نام آیا، بے وارثوں کا وارث، بے وارثوں کا وارثی بے موت مر گیا ہے، سجاد کے جگر کو یہ غم ہی کھا گیا ہے، سجاد کے جگر کو یہ غم ہی کھا گیا ہے، یا حسین 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 یا حسین
چشم سجاد سے اب تک بھی لہو جاری ہے، چشم سجاد سے اب تک بھی لہو جاری ہے، چشم سجاد سے اب تک بھی لہو جاری ہے، چشم سجاد سے اب تک بھی لہو جاری ہے، چشم سجاد سے اب تک بھی لہو جاری ہے، چشم سجاد سے اب تک بھی لہو جاری ہے، چشم سجاد سے اب تک بھی لہو جاری ہے، چشم سجاد سے اب تک بھی لہو جاری ہے، چشم سجاد سے اب تک بھی لہو جاری ہے، شام بازار ہی غیور کی بیماری ہے، چشم سجاد سے اب تک بھی لہو جاری ہے، چشم سجاد سے اب تک بھی لہو جاری ہے، چشم سجاد سے اب تک بھی لہو جاری ہے، خون لاتا ہے کھلا اب بھی وہ سر زینب کا، خون لاتا ہے کھلا اب بھی وہ سر زینب کا، ایسا لگتا ہے سفر شام ابھی جاری ہے، چشم سجاد سے اب تک بھی لہو جاری ہے، چشم سجاد سے اب تک بھی لہو جاری ہے، چشم سجاد سے اب تک بھی لہو جاری ہے، خون لاتا ہے کھلا اب بھی وہ سر زینب کا، خون لاتا ہے کھلا اب بھی وہ سر زینب کا، ایسا لگتا ہے سفر شام ابھی جاری ہے، چشم سجاد سے اب تک بھی لہو جاری ہے، چشم سجاد سے اب تک بھی لہو جاری ہے، چشم سجاد سے اب تک بھی لہو جاری تک بھی لہو جاری ہے. کہے سجاد تماچے نہ اسے بارش میں، کہے سجاد تماچے نہ اسے بارش میں. میرے بابا کو یہ معصومہ بہت پیاری ہے، چشم سجاد سے اب تک بھی لہو جاری ہے. چشم سجاد سے اب تک بھی لہو جاری ہے. چشم سجاد سے اب تک بھی لہو جاری ہے. چشم سجاد سے اب تک بھی لہو جاری ہے. سر کھلے دیکھنے جب بنت علی لوگ آئے، سر کھلے دیکھنے جب بنت علی لوگ آئے. مر گیا دیکھ کے ماحول وہ بازاری ہے. چشم سجادی سے اب تک بھی لہو جاری ہے. چشم سجاد سے اب تک بھی لہو جاری ہے. چشم سجاد سے اب تک بھی لہو جاری ہے. جو کہ ہم شکل پیمبر تھا اسی اکبر کو، جو کہ ہم شکل پیمبر تھا اسی اکبر کو. سامنے بابا کے امت نے سنا ماری ہے. چشم سجاد سے اب تک بھی لہو جاری ہے. چشم سجاد سے اب تک بھی لہو جاری ہے. شام بازار ہی غیور کی بیماری ہے. چشم سجاد سے اب تک بھی لہو جاری ہے. چشم سجاد سے اب تک بھی لہو جاری ہے. جس طرح شمر نے بچی کو تماچے مارے، جس طرح شمر نے بچی کو تماچے مارے. خوف معصوم پہ مر کے بھی رہا جاری ہے. چشم سجاد سے اب تک بھی لہو جاری ہے. چشم سجاد سے اب تک بھی لہو جاری ہے. چشم سجاد سے اب تک بھی لہو جاری ہے. جس کی بنیاد بھی خود راکھی تھی عابد نے عقیل، جس کی بنیاد بھی خود راکھی تھی عابد نے عقیل. کیسے رک ساکی ہے وہ شہ کی عزاداری ہے. چشم سجاد سے اب تک بھی لہو جاری ہے. چشم سجاد سے اب تک بھی لہو جاری. شام بازار ہی غیور کی بیماری ہے.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته السلام عليك يا غريب الغرباء السلام عليك يا معين الضعفاء والفقراء السلام عليك يا شمس الشموس السلام عليك أنيس النفوس أيها المدفون بأرض توز روحي وجسمي لك الفداء السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته السلام عليك يا صاحب العصر والزمان الأمان 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 السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن السلام عليك يا إمام هذا عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل مخرجك وظهورك وجعلنا من أنصارك وأبانك السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
If I'm not that good, I know you will. So you'll be going home. I keep pushing you. I'm bringing it. I haven't seen you in ever. See, that's what I'm gonna do to you. Yo, I'm just making big dude. You look like an elephant that's coming out of his camp. It's alright. It's actually low. I didn't even say that. I was just saying something. Fresh shit. Yo, where's the water? I need to get her. So we got my time. Yo, bro. Yeah, yo, I'm just on.